How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to do a review on a rod and reel combo from a brand that I have never actually used or done a review on before. Now, I've used two other rods and reel combos from this company. However, I've never done a review on this. And this is just a new experience for me trying this brand, and that is the Bass Pro Shops. I've never lived in an area where I was near a Bass Pro Shop. I just moved, or if you know military terms, I just PCS'd to an area where there is a Bass Pro Shop. So I've been trying to feeling out what type of rod and reels that they have that I might like. And I landed on one that I love. This rod and reel combo from Bass Pro Shops, the Crappie Max Quick Tip, is just a fantastic rod. Now, you do get a reel. We'll get into this reel here in a little bit. However, you're buying this rod for $65. That's how much it costs. You're buying the rod. Bass Pro Shop gifted you the reel to allow you to go out in the lake or out in the water and fish. But what you're spending your money on for $65, you're spending your money on this rod. So let's just go over the quick specs of this rod. This rod in particular is a 5.5 foot or 5.6 foot rod. They have an entire series going from 5 foot all the way up to 6.5, 7 foot. They only had 6.5 foot, but the guy that worked there, the employee, told me that they even have a 7 foot rod, but they just currently didn't have that in stock. I picked up the 5.5 foot because that's just, when it comes to ultralight rods, that's what I personally like. I like a 5.5 ultralight rod. So it's a 5.5 foot ultralight rod. It is a fast action. It's very fast action, the fastest action rod I have ever owned. Now, I've used other companies, like from my friends or my father, whoever else that I've gone fishing with, that have had other rods that are a tiny bit faster maybe, but man, you are not going to be disappointed when it comes to this rod. This is a very fast ultralight rod. So it's ultralight, fast action. The lure or the line size is going to be from 1 pound all the way up to 6 pound. That's true ultralight. And then again, 1/32 ounce lure all the way up to 1/4 ounce lure. A true ultralight rod. Now, I'm going to say is that when you get this rod in hand, it's in your casting, you're using it, it's almost going to feel on the higher side of ultralight. It's going to almost feel like a light action rod or lightweight rod, but it's actually an ultralight. As soon as you get a fish on, you'll feel that rod. You'll feel the action of it, how it bends. It feels very close to an ultralight. So it's kind of halfway in between a light and an ultralight rod. Like I said earlier, I absolutely love this rod and reel combo. So let's just go over why I really like this rod and reel combo. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very excited about this. I've had this out in the water 3 times now. This isn't going to be a definitive review. I will come out after I have used this for an entire season, maybe even 2 seasons. I'm probably going to come back and do a 1 or 2 season review. And let's just go over real quick. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's just go over this real quick, why I really like this rod. So let's start with the bottom and move our way all the way up to the top. Okay, so this is a really nice reel seat. As you can see, look at this reel seat. It's nice and full, fills out your hand. It's EVA foam. It's EVA Grip Tech, I think is what Bass Pro Shops calls it. And it's got a little rougher texture, but it does really assist in how this rod feels. You're not going to lose grip on this whatsoever. And this is really dense EVA foam. And then the other thing I really love about this reel seat is the connector. It connects back here. The adjuster, the tightener is back here. It does have a steel, that typical steel connector reel seat right there, but it goes into a really nice finger groove plastic or graphite EVA or graphite into EVA handle, and it just feels really good. Contours to your fingers really well, depending on how you want to hold your rod. Then it goes back here into this EVA foam reel or rod bud. And here's the thing I really like about this is that you have aluminum accents. That's aluminum cap right there. You got aluminum little accents right here, move up here. Look at that's aluminum, that's metal. Aluminum again right here, and then you got the stainless steel, and then up here you got an aluminum cap again. It just looks really high quality. I do not know how this rod is only $65. So this rod and reel combo is $65. Just this reel seat alone is as good as much more expensive rods. I would say this is equivalent to like maybe $100, maybe a little bit more at most, maybe $120, but you're paying $65 for this rod and reel combo. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck for this rod. So then let's move up. So then it moves up to the Bass Pro Shop symbol or insignia. You have your specs there. And then you got really nice, I don't know if you can see that, really nice Fuji guides. Now these are on the lower, I think these might be, when it comes to Fuji, their lowest quality guides, but they're really good. They're painted, powder coated guides. What I really like about the design of these guides is that they are smaller in diameter, which some people may not like that because it affects casting. However, it's a longer guide. It's a smaller diameter, but it's longer. What that allows, let's see if I can get this in camera. What that allows is that as the line is coming off, as it's spiraling off, it's not having to go as much of a dramatic upward angle. It's more parallel to the guide, which will allow you to get further casting distance. So don't worry about this being a lower diameter line and how that's going to affect your casting distance. It will affect your casting distance. But since this is a longer guide, it's going to reduce how much this smaller diameter, it's going to reduce how much it impacts your casting distance. But you may be wondering to yourself, why would you want a lower diameter guide? Well, it makes it more sensitive. It makes it so that there's not as much of a diameter for that to vibrate. It's smaller, so there's less area to vibrate, so you feel or increases your sensitivity. And that continues throughout all of these guides. These go into, as you can see here, micro guides. So you have to be very careful with what type of line you're using on here. You put 10-pound line on there, that's not going to go through this top tip here whatsoever. You're going to have to use true ultralight line or use braid. I would recommend, if you're using braid, use 8-pound and below braid and then tie it to a 2-pound leader. And I wouldn't even with a FG knot or a Crazy Alberto knot, I wouldn't even let that go into the guides, that knot. Just have like maybe a 1 or 2 foot leader on this rod and cast it that way. I would not want that either FG or Crazy Alberto knot or whatever knot you choose going through these micro guides, because it's going to bang up the guides, probably break your guides or break your rod as you cast, because these are such micro guides. And you may again be wondering, why do you want micro guides? That increases your bite sensitivity significantly. This entire rod, which we'll get into in just a second, is meant for sensitivity. The only part that isn't super sensitive, I would say, is this reel seat. That's more for comfort. But if you hold it this way, you can rest your finger on the rod blank itself, and that will help you feel that bite a little bit better. So again, so we just talked about sensitivity. The guides are what is increasing some of that sensitivity. What's the other part of this rod that increases your sensitivity? That is the second half of this rod. Now this is a 2-piece rod. I don't think they come in 1 piece. I prefer 2-piece because I'm in the military. I travel a lot. I go home once a year to Michigan and fish, and I love having a 2-piece because it's easier for me to travel. It's a mobile rod at that point. So you have a 2-piece connector here. That's actually really nice. But what's the second half of this, or second part of this equation that makes this rod so sensitive? Well, that's the second half of this rod. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but that is a different texture from here. You hear that? That's full carbon. This is a carbon blink on the second half. The whole second half of this rod is a carbon blink. That means A, it makes the rod really light. It doesn't, and it allows it so it's not tip heavy either. This is a very neutral balance. Look, this is a teeny tiny 4.4, I think, ounce reel, and it's still perfectly neutral balanced. If you put a better quality reel on here from, say, Shimano, Daiwa, like say maybe like a Daiwa Legalis or a Shimano Regal, or is it? No, Daiwa Regal. This will balance so nicely with that. Any reel that is of a little bit better quality, a little bit heavier, and one size bigger, 1,000, 2,000, is going to balance perfectly with this, because it balances really well with this little teeny tiny cheaper reel. And what this graphite is going to do on top of making it so it's neutral balance, it's going to make it incredibly, incredibly sensitive. I cannot believe the sensitivity, the bites that I have felt from the teeniest tiny little fish on this rod. And the other thing that the full carbon blank does is that it makes it very, very, it went off my finger. It makes it very, very fast action. As you can see, look at that. Extremely fast action. It's really noodly at the top, but it goes right into that blank really fast. It is one of the best rods I have ever used. There's rods that I have used, the Dobbins series, or it was my buddy's rod, Mule Fishing or Fish Anything loves. It's like his favorite rod. The Panfish Elite series or something, Sierra Panfish Elite series. That's like $160 rod. This feels almost as good as that, and it's only $65 for a rod and reel. Now, is it as good as that Dobbins? I honestly, I'm going to be non-biased here. I don't think it is, but is that Dobbins worth $100 more? Absolutely not. No, this rod will compete with that. Is it better? No, but it will compete with that Dobbins Sierra Panfish Elite rod, because this entire second half of the rod is carbon. It's a carbon blank rod. And the other thing I really loved, do you see that? How it is orange, it has an orange tip to it, so that you can see when your rod gets, when your line gets a bite. It's a high visibility tip. The Aggressively Average Anglers did something similar with their, I think it was a Monster Bass rod that they just came out with. So I love that. I love when I can actually see the tip of my rod bend down. If I don't quite feel the bite, if I see my rod tip start moving, I know I got something, so I'll just set that hook a little bit. So that is the rod. I love this rod. It's not trying too hard to look really cool. It's just a very functional rod. I love it. So now let's move into the reel. Now the reel is nothing to write home about. I'm actually going to take the reel off so you can get a better look at it. So the reel, as I said, is like a 4-ounce, super crazy light, 500 size equivalent reel. It's nothing to write home about, but it does everything you need. This reel will do everything you need. This is a 5-ball bearing reel with a aluminum anodized, that drag sounds pretty darn good, aluminum anodized spool. It's got zinc alloy gears with a brass pinion vertical here, and it's got an aluminum crank arm. It's not the highest quality aluminum, you can tell. It's pretty low quality, but it's a panfish reel. You don't need anything super high quality. It actually has a bearing, as you can see there, in the knob, and the knob is a nice little rubberized knob. I would compare this reel to the Lew's Light Speed reel from Walmart they can find for $20. Not a bad little reel. I would say this is a better reel than that. So this is at most like equivalent to like a $20 reel. In my opinion, it does everything that you need, but it doesn't do everything you want. It's not super high quality, but it's good. It gets the job done. It's got a, the drag is 4.5 pound drag, a very lower end drag. The reel is 5.5 ounces. That's what I got those two confused. So not a very high drag, but this is a panfish rod, right? If you get a 3-pound bass, you'll be able to fight it with this reel still. But anything above that, it's gonna be a hard fight when it comes to this reel. And as you can see, it's pretty smooth. It doesn't spin forever. What I will recommend if you buy this reel, I haven't done it yet, but you can definitely tell there's not a lot of grease on the zinc alloy gears. I guarantee as soon as I put some grease on these gears, this thing's gonna feel so much better. It doesn't feel bad now. It honestly feels pretty good, but I guarantee if I put a little bit of extra grease on it, as you can see there, it will definitely spin for a longer time. So again, this reel isn't bad. Oh, the other thing too, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. It's just a regular spring bail. It goes into a pretty decent bail wire with a regular line roller. And believe it or not, there's actually a teeny tiny bearing. I can't say teeny tiny anymore. There's a little bearing in there, which I was pretty shocked with. But like I said, it does everything you need, but it doesn't do everything you want. It doesn't get all those wants that you would want. So again, this combo overall, I'm just gonna say, you're spending your $65 on the rod. This is a $65 rod that Bass Pro Shop gifted you so you can just get out on the water and get immediately to fishing. They gifted you a reel that goes along with this rod, which I love. I love that. At first, I was kind of disappointed with this reel. That's one of the reasons why I didn't initially buy it, because I was like, this reel, I don't want to spend $65 on a rod and reel, and the reel feels like this. But then I kind of realized, like, no, you're paying for the rod, and they're gifting you a reel. And I was being a little judgmental of this little reel. This is a good little reel. Good, not great. It's not a great reel, but it's enough for you to get on the water. And let me screw this back on real quick. I cannot stop gushing about this rod. Go out today and buy this rod. That's all I got. I'll talk to you guys later, okay?